Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a fun Father's Day card that you can make using some basic supplies. I'm using the perfect layering circles from Rubber Stamp Tapestry, as well as the Mom and Dad and the Because of You unmounted stamp sets. You can find those online at pegstamps.com, and I will have everything linked down below along with a coupon code for you. I also have some just little alpha stamp sets and some white and kraft cardstock. Actually, it's kind of like an off-white. It's a slightly cream color cardstock. Using a ruler, I'm just going to make a line straight down the center on my cardstock, and then I'm going to make a couple curvy lines, because what I want this to look like is like a DNA strand or a genome, because I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a play on words for this card and say, Dad, thanks for the good genes, it being a Father's Day card and all. So I got that little double helix design drawn, and I was thinking about, like, you know, when you're in school and you make those DNA models using gumdrops and toothpicks and marshmallows and stuff like that. Well, that's what I thought these perfect layering circles would be perfect for. So I'm starting off with this medium-sized one, and I am just going to do orange dots all the way down the center line. And kind of like how you'd have like a gumdrop in the middle and you'd hook your toothpicks to it. Boy, chemistry class was a long time ago. Biology was a long time ago. I don't remember everything perfectly, but I think I can get the gist enough. And now I'm going to make a pattern with these other sizes. So basically what I want to do is do one strand, kind of make a repeating pattern, and then I'm going to do that same pattern on the opposite side. So it doesn't really matter what order you go in. Well, it probably does matter what order you go in, but I'm just kind of getting the impression of a DNA strand here. So if you're like all sciencey and you know what you're doing, you could probably do a much better job, but just go for like a basic repeatable pattern here. I didn't use a really big circles on this card, on the front of the card, because they are so big. I stuck to probably the smaller 3 in the set mostly, and you just repeated the pattern. I also went with a color palette that was a little bit more sophisticated, so I wanted to kind of look earthy, plums and rust and gold, you know, those sort of colors just have a little bit more richness, which is a little different than the colors I usually go for. I usually tend to go towards brights and pastels and more saturated colors, so this was a fun change of pace. Now, as I was stamping the second strand, I realized that there was going to be areas where I'd want my stamping to be behind something else, so I just basically rounded the corner of a Post-it note and I just stuck it down as needed. Now, if you do need to fill in any gaps, you can do that with either a water brush with your ink pad color, or you could use a marker that matches if you have one, and just kind of fill in any gaps like I'm doing right here. I have a lot of water-based markers, so it's just as easy for me to grab a Tombow marker and to do that. And then I just connected the strands to the center using some markers. That's pretty much it. I mean, you could be more creative with that, I'm sure. Now, when I want to do like a larger word and I want my letters to all be lined up on these little square stamps, you can find these at the dollar bin at your big box craft store. I'll tape them together, and it makes it a lot easier for me to stamp these letters in a row. Now, they make stamps you can buy that like snap together in a grid, but they're kind of expensive, and I don't know how well they actually stamp. So this works for me, and they're certainly cheap enough. Those are like an impulse item I pick up sometimes when I'm in the big box craft stores, but I do use them, and I find them so handy if you don't have just the right sentiment or you want to make up your own, which I'm doing here. So after getting all of those stamped out, I am just trimming the little words into blocks. You could also trim them into individual letters, or you could cut letters out of like a magazine and kind of put them on ransom note style. That would look really cute if you don't have tiny block stamps. And then I saw this sentiment in the Because of You stamp set. It says, "Aren't you glad you had enough for both of us?" And I thought that would be kind of fun. You know, thanks for the good genes, sharing your genes. You know, I just thought that would work. Hopefully it makes sense and people get it and it's not not foolish. But I thought it was really cute, and I just thought it was a totally different look to get from your peg stamps, especially if you've had this set for a while, because this is a really versatile, basic set. Probably one of the first ones you might pick up because there's so much you can do with it, and this is just another idea for that. So I'm just using a little fine tip applicator of glue to glue down all these little word blocks. Now, you could stamp this right on the backing of the card as well, but I was afraid of messing it up after all of that stamping. I didn't want to risk messing up my card base, so I also like how it gets a little highlighted when you use the ink on the edge. Then I matted that on kraft cardstock, and I sized this so it would fit in a regular business envelope. So the card is It's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. And that'll go right in a number 10 business envelope. So you don't even have to buy a special envelope for this, which is really nice. I'd like to do more cards this size, especially like maybe some landscape cards. Like I think that would be really fun, like a scene building card to do it this size. Because it's hard to find those A2 envelopes sometimes. And I usually make my own, but sometimes I just want to pop it in an easy envelope. And then on the inside, I stamped the really large Happy and Father's Day from the Mom and Dad stamp set. That's a really nice one because it takes up a lot of real estate. It leaves a really nice impression. I always have a hard time thinking about what to write inside of a card, so anytime I can decorate the inside a little bit more with a sentiment and take up a little more space, I like that. And then, I mean, I do have the other half of the card, like the top half if I want to write something longer, but that just kind of fills it up a little bit. And then I decided to use some of those larger stamps because the Perfect Layering Circles has 5 circles. I'm using some of these other sizes with all the different colors to just do a little kind of like polka dot design here. That's what's so nice about this, because this is such a generic stamp set. You could use it for any occasion. You could change up your colors, use it for anybody. And you can find it at pegstamps.com along with all the other supplies I used from Rubber Stamp Tapestry. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Please give me a thumbs up before you go. That lets me know that you like these type of videos. And until next time, happy crafting!